Well, I don't know if that exact moment it was over, but I know this. They have 10,000 roughly kilograms of fissionable material. That's broken up into roughly 460 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium, another 1,000 kilograms of 20% enriched uranium, and the balance is at 3.67. They manufacture their own centrifuges to enrich this material. So,
for decades, Ali Khamenei stood at the very heart of Iran's political and spiritual life, ruling the country with a firm hand and a vision that shaped its destiny. As the supreme leader, he wasn't just the highest authority in the land, he was the ultimate decision-maker, holding more power than any president or parliament. His word determined the direction of the nation, influencing everything from foreign policy to daily life, and affecting the hopes and futures of millions of Iranians. Khamenei was more than just a political leader. To many, he embodied the ideals and identity of the Islamic Republic itself, becoming a symbol of continuity and resilience. His influence extended far beyond Iran's borders, reaching deep into the politics and conflicts of the wider Middle East. Regional militias, politicians and religious leaders across neighboring countries often looked to him for guidance, support and inspiration, seeing him as a key player in regional affairs. For the West, Khamenei became the face of defiance, a leader who stood up to international pressure and sanctions, and who represented a constant challenge to Western interests. His rule endured through some of Iran's most turbulent times, devastating wars, crippling sanctions, and waves of protests and uprisings that tested the nation's resolve. This resilience made him both respected and feared, not just by his supporters, but also by his critics and adversaries. Over the years, Khamenei became a central figure in Middle Eastern politics, shaping alliances and rivalries that defined the region. Every decision he made sent ripples across borders, influencing events and policies far beyond Iran itself. For many Iranians, his power was not just political, but deeply personal, touching their daily lives, beliefs, and sense of national identity. That's why his sudden death in an airstrike wasn't just a political event, it was a historic shock that sent waves of uncertainty and emotion throughout the country and the world. The story of the Tehran strike begins much earlier, rooted in decades of mistrust and rivalry. To truly understand what happened, we have to look back at the tangled history between Iran, the United States, and Israel, a history marked by suspicion, secret deals, and open hostility. Tensions between Iran, the United States, and Israel have simmered for years, sometimes boiling over into open threats and confrontations. Diplomatic efforts often stalled, leaving all sides wary and on edge. Each side accused the others of plotting, spying, and aggression. Accusations flew in public and behind closed doors, fueling a cycle of distrust that seemed impossible to break. The nuclear issue was a constant source of fear and anger. Iran insisted its program was peaceful, while the US and Israel saw it as a direct threat, sparking protests and heated debates both inside Iran and abroad. Sanctions hurt the Iranian economy, leading to shortages, unemployment, and frustration among ordinary people. Everyday life became a struggle as international pressure mounted. Meanwhile, Iran supported groups in Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen, extending its influence across the region. These alliances gave Iran leverage, but also drew it deeper into regional conflicts. These groups often clashed with American and Israeli interests, leading to deadly skirmishes and tit-for-tat attacks that kept the region in a state of constant tension. Each attack, each assassination, made the region more unstable. The cycle of violence seemed endless, with every loss fueling calls for revenge. Warnings grew louder in late 2025. News outlets and analysts speculated about the possibility of war, and governments issued urgent statements. Iran's nuclear program advanced despite warnings. International inspectors raised alarms, but progress continued, raising the stakes for everyone involved. Israel promised it would not allow a nuclear-armed Iran, making its red lines clear to the world. Military preparations became more visible, signaling that time was running out for diplomacy. The United States, under pressure from its allies, stepped up covert actions. Intelligence agencies worked around the clock, gathering information and planning operations. In the background, cyber attacks, assassinations, and drone strikes became more frequent. The shadow war intensified, with new technologies making the battlefield even more unpredictable. By early 2026, the region was on edge. Borders were heavily guarded, and cities braced for the worst as rumors of imminent conflict spread. Rumors spread of secret meetings and new alliances. Behind the scenes, leaders weighed their options, knowing that any misstep could spark a wider war. People feared that a major confrontation was not just possible, but inevitable. Anxiety filled the air as families wondered what the next day would bring, and the world watched, holding its breath. The days before February 28th were tense. Satellite images showed unusual activity in Tehran. Iranian air defenses were on alert. Western intelligence agencies picked up chatter of a significant event. Yet, no one outside the highest circles knew what was coming. US and Israeli military cooperation was at its peak. Joint exercises took place in the Mediterranean. Drones circled the skies near Iran's borders. Diplomats spoke in hushed tones, warning their citizens to avoid non-essential travel to Iran. Inside Tehran, the government seemed nervous. Extra checkpoints appeared. The supreme leader's compound was heavily guarded, yet Khamenei kept to his public schedule, appearing calm and in control. As the world slept on the night of February 27th, a team of operators prepared for one of the most daring missions of the century. At dawn on February 28th, explosions rocked northern Tehran. Witnesses described a sudden flash, followed by a deep rumble. Air raid sirens wailed. The ground shook for miles around. The strike was surgical, focused on a heavily fortified section of the supreme leader's residence. Iranian state media at first tried to downplay the incident, but images quickly spread on social media, smoke rising over the city, sirens and panic. Local hospitals received casualties, but, rumors raced ahead of official reports. Something huge had happened. Within hours, officials confirmed the unthinkable. Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei had been killed in the strike. His guards and close advisors were also hit. The world watched as one of the most secretive and well-protected men on Earth was gone in a moment. In the hours that followed, details of the covert operation began to emerge, sending shockwaves through intelligence communities and newsrooms around the world. This was not a random missile or drone strike, nor was it an act of reckless aggression. It was a meticulously planned and highly coordinated attack, executed with precision. Intelligence sources confirmed that a sophisticated combination of stealth drones and advanced cruise missiles was used to target Khamenei's residential wing, deep within a fortified government complex. The timing was no accident. The strike was launched during a daily prayer ritual, a moment when Khamenei would be most exposed and least protected, surrounded by his closest aides. US and Israeli sources later revealed that the operation was the result of months of careful planning, involving multiple agencies and layers of approval. Months of intense surveillance, human intelligence gathering, and complex cyber operations paved the way for the strike, ensuring every detail was accounted for. The attackers managed to evade Iranian radar systems entirely, deploying the latest jamming technology and electronic warfare tactics. No warning was given, leaving defenses helpless. The strike itself was over in mere seconds, a sudden, devastating barrage that left no time for response. Inside the compound, Khamenei was struck by deadly shrapnel and the force of the blast. He died almost instantly, with no chance for medical intervention. Several of his most senior commanders and trusted security aides were killed alongside him, plunging the leadership into chaos. Emergency teams rushed to the scene, but they arrived too late to save anyone at the epicenter of the blast. The damage to the compound was catastrophic, leaving the high-security facility in ruins. The message was unmistakable. This was a direct and deliberate strike at the very heart of Iran's leadership, with consequences that would echo far beyond its borders. Iran's government announced 3 days of national mourning. Black flags flew across the country. Crowds gathered in Tehran's squares, chanting and weeping. But beneath the mourning there was anger and fear. Who would lead now? Would there be revenge? Markets trembled. Oil prices jumped. Investors feared war. In the West, leaders urged calm, but many worried about retaliation. Protests erupted in cities from Beirut to London. Some mourned Khamenei, others celebrated his death. Inside Iran, the government scrambled to show control. Security forces patrolled the streets. Rumors of a coup spread. Social media was restricted for days. The stability of the Islamic Republic, so tied to Khamenei's rule, was now in question. This attack was no accident. Officials from the United States and Israel, speaking off the record, confirmed a joint operation. The goal was clear: remove Khamenei and cripple Iran's leadership. It was the result of months, even years of planning. The timing was chosen for maximum effect. Only a handful of top officials knew the exact details. Satellite and drone surveillance tracked Khamenei's movements for weeks. The missiles were guided by real-time intelligence from assets on the ground. Afterward, both Washington and Jerusalem released cautious statements. They did not claim open responsibility, but their message was clear. The world had changed. Iran's adversaries had shown they could reach even the most secure targets. With Khamenei dead, Iran's future became uncertain. The succession system struggled. Powerful figures in the military, the Revolutionary Guard, and the clergy all wanted control. Factions formed quickly, each claiming to represent Khamenei's legacy. The risk of war grew. Iran's allies threatened retaliation against American and Israeli interests. United States bases in Iraq and Syria went on high alert. Oil shipments through the Gulf slowed, raising fears of a global energy shock. Ordinary Iranians felt both grief and anxiety. Some feared a crackdown, others hoped for change. Across the Middle East, governments watched nervously. Would Iran lash out or retreat inward? The answers were not clear. The world had not seen such a dramatic assassination in decades. The death of Khamenei marked the end of an era. Old alliances shook. New questions filled the air. What kind of Iran would emerge from the chaos? In the days that followed, diplomats rushed to prevent wider conflict. Security councils met in emergency session. The world's great powers, often at odds, now shared a single concern: stopping the region from sliding into all-out war. For now, the world waits. There is fear, but also hope that a new path might open. What comes next in Iran and the Middle East remains unclear. One thing is certain: the Tehran strike has changed everything, and there is no going back.